Hello and welcome all to another live session on the Football Corner Pod, where we break down all things football, from iconic clubs to the fans who live and breathe the game. I'm your host Hari Keshav, and today we've got a special Manchester City episode across the other side of Manchester, and I've titled this Blue Moon Dominance. And joining me today is someone I've really enjoyed interacting with through this football content journey, and one of the most rational, analytical, and well thought through City fans that I know in the City fan base. Piyush Bhai, thank you so much for joining me on the pod.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, Haribhai. You're too kind, and I don't know if I'm analytical or not, but I would agree that I quite enjoy having conversations with you, and it's a pleasure, bhai. Looking forward to the stream.
Amazing, amazing. I mean, Piyush Bhai is being very humble here because let me just tell you what a big deal for me it is to have him on my channel. Piyush just recently reached 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, so congratulations, Bhai. So it's a milestone, and should be celebrated. So a wonderful milestone, and also I think he was recently featured on Premier League India and Star Sports Fan Zone. So that's all brilliant. How was the experience, Pushpa? How was it to be there? Uh,
It was amazing. Thanks again, Haribhai, and for wonderful words. And when we start doing this content, like that is one of the goals that you set yourself for, like reaching that 1K
exactly.
milestone. When I
Yeah.
started doing, I never thought it would be possible for me, because I had no clue what to do. I had no clue how to connect camera. I had no clue how to start stream ad and all. But throughout this journey, I've been helped a lot by a lot of people who have always encouraged me to push forward. And somehow I found people who actually enjoyed what I wanted to say, and I ended up having that bunch of people who subscribed to me. But having said that, with respect to the PL fan zone, Walabai, it's an amazing experience. I've been there for 4 5 times now, and
Amazing.
every time you go there, it's a pleasure to be there. It's one of those feelings that when you look back and actually can tell your parents as to you're doing something great in your
Yeah.
life, because they're still old fashioned. They really rather watch me on TV than on YouTube. So it's a big deal for them, and it's
True.
an amazing experience. By It's an amazing experience. That is what I would say.
Amazing, amazing, and just wishing you much more success. I mean, I got to know Piyush through the content creation journey, and he invited me on one of his episodes that he does. I think it's like a series, the Yellow Room, where
Yeah,
he goes into a club where he takes a topic and he goes into it like very, very deep, and the amount of preparation that Piyush does to set up an episode like this, call the right guests and ask the right questions, just goes to show how much effort he puts into it. It's not just like a hobby, but he really enjoys doing it. And we just wish you, on from my channel and all the viewers who's watching as well, all the success that you can get off the pitch as well. On the pitch, it's looking great for City. I think this is what you
yeah,
guys yearned for, to be in this position, so we will discuss all that.
yeah,
Brilliant. So, Piyush bhai, the agenda, this is what I wanted to discuss with you. The big match against Arsenal was just concluded, and City did exactly what City does. Peak at the right time, a big win. So we will discuss that, how big of a win that is. And now that the title race is in City's hands, we will discuss a little bit about that. We will also discuss the big elephant in the room. There's murmurs about Pep, stepping down after the season, possibly. So we
yeah,
all know what a huge impact Pep has had on City and on the Premier League and on football in general. So we'll just talk about his influence, his impact, and what that means for City moving forward. And is Enzo Maresca the guy who everybody is talking about, that could be the new manager of City? Is he the right person to talk about, to take City forward? So we'll talk about that. And then finally, we will also talk about the murmurs around City looking at Elliot Anderson from Forest and Enzo Fernandez to also revamp their midfield? Are they the right players? Are these the guys that you're looking for? Do you really need them at this point? So all this is what we're going to dig deep into. So so whoever's watching, please do drop a like, drop a subscribe. Also, Piyush Bhai's links to all his socials are there in the description. So give Let Me Talk City a huge like and subscribe to his content as well. And I just want to say some of the content that Piyush Bhai puts out is like it's food for thought. It's food for your soul. It's like the chicken soup for your soul. So it's the game that we all love, and Piyush Bhai breaks it down so very well. So please give him a huge follow.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Haribhai. I mean, I am not worthy of such kind words. I mean, I try to do what I try enjoying doing, and it is because of all of you guys that it became such a hit by. And I'm really proud of that Yellow Room stream. I mean, that we did together. We went so deep into that Newcastle wala discussion. I look back to it, and I sometimes feel कि हम लोग कितनी अच्छी बातें कर सकते हैं. So
Yeah.
it's more to do with people who come to the streams who are actually valuing a lot of value to the stream rather than me doing anything to it. But I'm great. I'm glad that we met, and I quite enjoy having this conversation with you.
Thank you so much, Piyush Bhai. So now let's talk about City versus Arsenal. I mean, we all saw what game it was. It was not beautiful at times, but it was also that is the type of game that you want to see, right? Both teams didn't want to lose. They wanted to come ahead of each other, not just in terms of the result, but also mentally. We all saw the scuffle which broke out between Haaland and Gabriel, and this is almost what the Premier League was missing. The good old days of the scrap and fighting each other and trying to get into each other's heads. And Haaland just it was cinema, bhai. I mean, as much as
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was the most beautiful football, certainly not, but it was cinema for us to watch. Or
Yeah.
what was your take on the match, how it panned out? Do you think this was exactly what you guys needed at the right moment in the season?
Yeah. First of all, Haribhai, I think you summed it pretty well. I think that is the kind of matches we have seen whilst we were growing up in Premier League football. That is the classical Premier League rivalry back in 2010s, where you just fight tooth and nail with your opponent. You just don't want to give any inch to your opponent, and it's more to do with the passion rather than the flair. And I think it was very fresh in that way, that Arsenal also showed a lot of courage coming at Etihad and playing the way they tried to play against Man City, and I quite enjoyed it to the point. And I enjoyed after the game was ended, but at whilst I was watching the game, I wasn't comfortable at all. I'm not gonna lie at all. I felt I never expected Arsenal to play with that much courage. I, on the other hand, felt they'll either be very timid or they'll go ultra aggressive and they'll expose themselves. But they actually played very balanced football. They came up with a plan. I think their selection with regards to playing Havertz up top and Mosquera on the right to counter Doku. I think it was really smart from Arteta. That just shows that he had that acumen, and for the first time, I felt he also swallowed his ego a bit.
Yeah.
And at the end, the way that game was panning out, it could have gone either way. By I mean, if as a strike goes in or Havertz
Yeah.
scores that goal, and we might even be sitting here and discussing what a wonderful Herculean effort from Arsenal rather than us praising City. So margin was very very less for me, and but I quite enjoyed it in a way that I didn't expect Arsenal to come up with that performance. So in that way, I really was happy to see Man City also fighting tooth and nail with them. I expected Man City to win that match because we've seen Man City when they really want to win the match at Etihad, irrespective of whosoever they're playing against, they somehow come up with a performance. A lot of City fans would be so proud of the performance from all our players. So I think all in all, it was a wonderful Premier League worthy game between two top sides going for the title.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't have summed it any better, Piyush, I know it's always very nervous as a fan, right? You're watching this, it's potentially having a title decider, and it's very nervous to enjoy the game. But as a neutral fan, I was just, I just I had popcorn in my hands, and I was just enjoying this two teams just trying to outdo each other. And yeah, as you said, commendable effort from Arsenal, but wasn't enough. But now, how it is placed, Piyush, is it's very much in City's hands, and we all know since August of 2025 almost, City have never been on top. So Arsenal have enjoyed being on top since almost from the end of August until now. And City always played possum. And at some time in the City, if I'm guessing, you must have also felt that the points gap that Arsenal had built was too much. And City had not found this consistency, found this form as well. But at what time do you think that the hope that everything changed for you from a City perspective? And now that you have everything in your hands, are you feeling confident with the upcoming fixtures as well? We will take a look at the fixtures. But how is your your bottle now? How is your confidence now?
So bhai, I'll just start with the first part of the question where for me, I have given up like more than four or five times this season. Like most of my videos, whenever City loses, was titled "It's over now. It's over now,"
Hmm.
and I somehow am baffled by the fact that we have found ourselves into a situation where we are in the ascendancy and on the verge of actually winning this league. I still feel
Yeah,
that it's a long way. I still feel five games are, I mean, it might look very, very less in paper, but it's 1 month, more than 1 month of football left. And it has been difficult. We all know Premier League teams in the back end of the season, most of the teams really are either playing for Europe. Since now that Conference League has also been introduced, and we have seen the gap in the mid tables, not that much. So all of the teams are in contention to qualify for Europe, and any team that qualifies for Europe, there's a lot of financial benefits to it. So every team,
true.
more often than not, 80% of the team have something to play for. Also, I feel that the remaining teams which are fighting for relegation, with the likes of West Ham, no Forest, even Spurs for that matter, I feel it's difficult to play these teams away from home. So with regards to when I felt we are in the title race is when I saw Arsenal losing to Bournemouth and us winning
Hmm.
against Chelsea. Like
Hmm.
once I realized that we've won the match against Chelsea. After before that, Arsenal had dropped points against Bournemouth. I expected Bournemouth to come up good against Arsenal, not because I rate Bournemouth more than Arsenal. I felt because Arsenal were playing so much football in leading up to that game. They were playing every 3 days. They were traveling a lot.
True.
They had to travel to Portugal to play that Sporting game. Then they came back and played against Sporting. In between, they had to play Bournemouth and one more game, if I can remember correctly. Also, I felt since they were not rotating their key players and they didn't have a choice to rotate their key players, I always felt the intensity would somehow die down. And Haribhai, like you would also agree, when you're in title race and when you're so close to winning it, uh, the pressure that fans feel at your
True.
own home ground, it's far more than, let's say, when you play away from home. So I have always felt like that. Even when City were challenging Liverpool for titles, those wonderful seasons that we had against Liverpool, I always felt it was far easier to play away from home than at home, because there was a lot of anxiety in the stadium, because we knew one slip up and then we might lose a title to Liverpool. I realized it, and the way Arsenal fans are reacting, and how emotional they are as a fan base. I always knew if things don't go well for them in the first half, there's a panic around the stadium, and it translates to the players as well. They see the mourning,
True.
they see the grasp and all. And I felt once Bournemouth got ahead, I feel it would
Hmm.
be Herculean effort from Arsenal to get a victory out of it. They might score
Yeah.
a goal, but it would be very difficult for them to score two goals, and they let one more
Yeah.
let pass by. So when they lost to Bournemouth, I felt they were under immense pressure, because their first leg tie was not yet done against Sporting, so they had to win that second leg at Emirates. So they would be focused there. Once you play 90 minutes Champions League game, then you are asked to play a City in the weekend. It is very tough, and that too away from home. So I still felt we when we defeated Chelsea, that was the moment where I felt if we if me I felt I knew that we are going to defeat Arsenal. Now it's only a matter of time where I feel it comes down to head to heads, or let's say goal difference. And if I have to bet my money on a team that is going to score more goals, or let's say have a better goal difference going into the 5 games, I still City have the tendency to score 4 5 in any game.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, we have not scored those many 4 5 goals this season like we do
Yeah.
usually. But I still feel the forward line that we have with likes of Semenyo, Haaland, Doku, even Cherky for that matter, even Nico Riley for that matter, can come up and score few goals. I feel we have lot more people who are actually in form in terms of scoring goals rather than Arsenal. Arsenal can score goals, but they usually are very one dimensional. They really require set
True.
pieces on corners to score goals. So I felt
Yeah.
when it's about numbers with respect to how many goals, who's going to score, and if it is decided on goal difference, I feel City are in ascendancy, and they're gonna pip Arsenal with respect to that.
Do you think that let me also bring up the fixture list now, such that we are seeing Piyush, by before we have move on to the Premier League, there is a slight deviation. So City play Southampton. I think this is the FA Cup semi-final, and I think this will be played
Yeah.
at Wembley. So there's a shift in the FA Cup, and I mean City are favourites. So I'm guessing City are looking towards a double this season, a domestic double. But in the
Yep.
Premier League, I see potentially two tricky fixtures. Right? Bournemouth again. We just had a big conversation around Bournemouth. Bournemouth away
Yeah.
has to be. It's such a tricky place to go away and play. It's also because how the stadium is built and one side fully open. The all the seats cramped up almost to the pitch as well. Very tricky place. Also, Everton away, I feel could be quite tricky at away at Hill Dickinson. And then
Yep.
final day, yes, even though it's at home, Aston Villa might still be looking for. I think with 5 places in Europe, I think Aston Villa and Liverpool and Man United are comfortable. But if
Yep.
do Brighton or Bournemouth make a late charge at this, and if there is all to play, that could be a tricky fixture as well. Do you feel the same, or do you feel that there could be these are just games that City could easily blow past, given how they've done it in the past as well?
No, no. I feel the same, Haribhai, and I think you touched on the games that are actually going to be very difficult. Not to say that Brentford would be
Yes,
an easier game, but again, you would
true.
back a Man City to if they are supposed to win the match, then you'll back Man City to win most of their home games. But unfortunately, we're only playing 3 home games, right? And two
Yeah,
we are going away, and both those away games are very tricky. Everton, for me, let's just take Everton for example. I mean, Everton has been the most unpredictable team this season for me. I mean, not in terms of
true.
how they played really well, but if you were to ask me whether Everton is going to come up and lose to Liverpool, I wouldn't say they're going to, but they did. But if you tell me that they're going to defeat Sunderland away, I would say no, and they yet again defeated. So it's very difficult to predict what kind of Everton comes up in that game. I saw that Man United wala game when they were playing Everton at Hill Dickinson, and the way they were defending, by these are physical beasts, be it Tarkowski, be it who was the other defender, centre back, I forgot his name. Keane
Brathwaite,
or
Keane.
Brathwaite. Yeah,
I think Brathwaite.
Brathwaite was there. Yeah, Brathwaite. I think even going forward with Endai, Grealish, and Drewsbury Hall, they're very fluid.
Yeah,
Their
yeah,
number 9 is not that effective. I would say if
yeah.
had they acquired a good number 9, they would have been in contention for the Champions League because they've been really consistent at their home. But I feel when City are going to play them with the mindset that they need to win, I think I back them to just get over the line. I think Pep
Hmm.
would come up with some or the other trickery or something like other. And I think for 90 minutes, I just feel Everton cannot compete with Man City's intensity. But Bournemouth on the other end, I feel very different. I feel that
Yeah,
team is built to play against Man City. They
true.
can they can go toe to toe with Man City with respect to how much intensity they can bring vis-a-vis any other team. They're built like that. I remember the last time when we last season we went to this Vitality Stadium. I remember it. That was the end of Kyle Walker's career because Kirkes and
Hmm.
Semenyo are playing on the right side, and after
Yeah,
that, Walker never recovered. We lost what 3-0 or 4-0, something like that. 2-0, 3-0, something we lost. And more than that, I just felt most of our players were like down uh, with that fact that they could not compete with the physicality of Bournemouth. I think they've drastically improved. Yes, they have lost key players, but they're still very good at their home. So I think that is far more tricky than Everton. But Everton is not an easy game. But if we can get our victories in both those games, I feel home games, I'm confident that City are going to get their victories. With respect to Aston Villa's game, I think it all depends upon where they end up in the semi-final. If
Yeah, true.
Emery has secured the finals in Europa League spot, then I feel he would not be interested in playing his key players in the Premier League, because he would want to
Fair.
have that Europa League for Aston Villa, and that makes it a bit easier, since they're not going to play full tilt squad. But if he loses to Forest, if I'm correct, they're playing Forest. If they loses to Forest, and they are not yet secured their top five spot, then it would be very difficult to play Unai Emery at on the last day. So these are the three
That is
fixtures that we are looking forward to.
Yeah. Also, Crystal Palace could be the same thing, Piyush. By Crystal Palace are in the semifinals of conference. So let's say if
Yeah,
they're gonna be getting conference final, they could very well play a second. I mean, when was last time, or has ever Crystal Palace ever won European Cup? I don't think so. So I'm guessing Glasner before he leaves, or whatever
leaves.
happens
Yeah.
there. Yeah, it's going to be well rotated side. So a lot to, I think that was very well broken down, Piyush bhai. Just one question here. Um, there's a couple of players at City who when City bought, to be honest, I was very jealous of. Not that I'm not jealous of other City's success as a United fan or the players City buy, but there was one particular player in particular where I felt this player is going to have a huge say in how City play, and he's going to have a very very good first season. And that player was Tijani Reinders. And when he started this season at City, it was all going to plan. He was doing pretty much what he was doing at AC Milan. I think he had a good start to his City career, but I haven't heard of him in a long time. And I think this is
Yeah.
what Pep does, right? Pep experiments until January, and then until
Yeah.
after January, he just chooses 11. He knows who are going to come off the bench, and that is the squad he will play again and again and again. So, what is
Yeah.
happening around Tijani Reinders? I mean, he did start off. I mean, even when the season started, he was quite a fundamental player for you guys, and then now he's nowhere to be heard. Is it an injury? Is it loss of form? Is it loss of trust in the manager? What's happening there?
I think you touched it perfectly, Bharibhai. I felt when we signed Tijani Reinders, I felt amongst the players that we signed, he would be the most perfect Pep player in my opinion. I
Yeah.
thought he's that one player who's going to fill that void that Gundogan left last year. He's the player that who's going to make those runs deep inside the box, and who can also manipulate whilst he plays in the midfield. And I think that is what the expectation was throughout the first half of the season. I remember us playing at the Club World Cup, and we had already signed Cherki, Reinders, and Ait Nouri. These are the three players that we had already signed,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
all of them played in that Club World Cup. And I was the most I was impressed was with Reinders, because he played almost every game. And I made a video out of it that I felt people are not ready for Reinders and Rodri partnership. I believe that hype so much, because we have all seen that performance against Madrid when he played for Milan, and even in the Serie A, he was the player, he was midfielder of the year, or so on and so forth. What I think happened with Reinders, Haribhai, is he just didn't adapt to the pace of the Premier League. I felt
Mhm.
he didn't anticipate that this league is far more quicker than, let's say, Serie A,
Mm.
because
Mm.
the moment you try to keep the ball and try to play it the way you want to play it, next thing you know, there's a person who's coming and slaughtering you away, and they're just going to take that ball away. What ended up happening was, since he was playing in the midfield alongside Nico Gonzalez, not Rodri was injured back then, we were very inexperienced in that way. And I felt he just kept on losing the ball too much in the midfield. Pep
Mm.
never likes these kind of players who loses the ball in the midfield, because you are basically opening yourself susceptible to all kind of attacks. And that is why we lost to likes of Brighton, Spurs, even that matter, in few matches that we lost in the first half of the season. Even in the Champions League, when we lost to Leverkusen and Bodo Glimt, I think there a lot of has to be lot has to be blamed, because we kept on losing ball in the midfield. And before we knew it, he understood that he might need a bit more time, let's say, to adapt to the pace of the league. And you know how City are, Haribhai. I think they just fix it. If they find there's a
Yeah.
problem, they're going to fix it. They're not going to, irrespective of whosoever you are, whether you're a 100 million player, 200 million player, or you're 20 million player, if you're given an opportunity, if you're not performing, they're very ruthless in that way. They'll find some other player who's going to do that job for you. Rodri came back.
True.
Bernardo was hitting the right form, and I felt we were just suffocated with the fact that we didn't have a creative player in between. And then Cherki came to the form, and then it became almost impossible for any of them to sit out. So I still feel going into the next season, there will be a conversation with Reinders, and they will be giving him a lot more responsibility, because I've seen that transition with Gundo, I've seen that transition with
Yeah.
Kovacic as well, where Pep talks to them in a way that he tells them that you are our most essential player going forward this season. I want you to take responsibility. I want you to be the man who's going to win us the league. Prepare yourself like that. I'm going to give you as many chances as you want, but you have to take the onus as well. And I think when once that responsibility is handed over to him, since Bernardo won't be here next season, and he would have accumulated a lot more experience this season, having seen a lot of players, having seen how Bernardo operates, how Rodri operates, or let's say other players in the league operates, I think he would come back, because we all know he's very technically gifted player. And what he brings to Man City is something that nobody else does. He can actually carry the ball 30-40 yards on his feet, and nobody can touch him. So I'm looking forward to seeing him next season. I'm still very positive with regards to him, because like 90% of the players who've come under Pep Guardiola have not done well in the first season, be it Mahrez, be it
True.
Grealish, be it even likes of Sterling, Sane, Bernardo. Even Bernardo couldn't even make to the squad when he came to Man City. So I feel
Yeah.
the second season is a season where you actually uh, assess whether he is a good signing for Man City or not. But I'm just hopeful, because from whatever I've seen of him, I feel he has the talent, he has the knowledge, he has the age as well, because he has experience in that matter. And we have seen that in AC Milan. We are seeing that in Netherlands squad as well. That there's no problem with how he plays. So I'm hopeful that he comes up good next season.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant. Also, Piyush Bhai, for enlightening me and also the viewers on what's happening with Tijani. And I mean, we all know that the Premier League is a different league, different beast in its own. And we've all seen how Serie A teams have fizzled out in the Champions League, even when they play against not just Premier League teams, but La Liga teams. It's not been a year for Serie A, to be very honest. But talking of players, Piyush Bhai, you also said that Bernardo Silva will be leaving. So let me just pull up the squad list, because there was something that I wanted to talk about here as well. There's two players that will be leaving City this season, after this season. So one is Bernardo Silva, who's been fulcrum of everything City do, and at the back, it's gonna be John Stones, who's also been a wall for City. I mean, it's interesting to even think what it would have been with John Stones were it not for those injuries. By I mean, John Stones in full tilt is something. I mean, he really transformed. I think he really went a lot of notches up since his time at Everton. So, what is
Yeah.
your personal feeling there? What would you who first of all, out of the two, who would you personally miss a lot? And the second
Yeah.
question is, what are your fondest memories of Bernardo Silva and John Stones? One
Ooh.
fond memory of both of them. That if you would
I
like
mean,
to talk about them.
it's I get chills by matlab, only thinking of the fact that I'm going to talk about these two players, Hari bhai,
Yeah,
and I have a lot
yeah.
of time for both of them. I think it kind of asking a football fan whether you like your right hand or left hand. Like I really appreciate what John Stones did to Man City, but again, Bernardo is Bernardo. We all know how special that player. But I'm going to start with John Stones. Bhai. I think John Stones was the first player that Man City actually went with, which was a Pep Guardiola signing. In a way, we knew for the first time that we were going to take a lot of risk now and from now onwards. He was never the center back. Like he was never the height, like tall. He was tall, but he was not physically built, or he was never of that stature that we saw growing up, likes of Terry, Ferdinand, Vidic. He was very different, but he was very effective because even when he was at Everton, we all saw how beautifully he controlled the ball. And when we signed him, the first year was very difficult for him. He had a lot of howlers, and a lot of heat was put to him. And I remember there was a press conference where Pep Guardiola very famously said, John Stones has more balls than all of us combined, and that just signifies how highly Pep rated him. And then that season came where when we got that centurion season, that 17-18 season. The way he played, the way he manipulated the ball, bhai, I saw some other player. But his most beautiful season would be like the two seasons where I felt he just was world class. I mean, top of the notch. One of the best centre backs in the world were one when we first reached Champions League final in 2021. That was the season when Ruben Dias came, and him and Ruben Dias, by they didn't concede a single goal against Haaland. They played against Haaland in Dortmund. They played against
Yeah.
Mbappe, Neymar. They didn't concede. They played against Lewandowski. They didn't concede. So them two as a partnership worked really well. But in the Champions League final, bhai, and the semi-final against Madrid, when he started playing in midfield, I had never seen any centre back do that. It was so amazing. The only player which I felt, Hari Bhai, in that Champions League final who wasn't nervous that day, and I'm saying anybody, like, be it Rodri, be it Bernardo, be it Gundo, be it De Bruyne, Haaland, everybody was nervous because the stakes were so high in the Champions League final. The only player who wasn't nervous at all was this guy. He manipulated the ball so well. I think he has the record of most number of dribbles in the UCL Champions League final, by the way. So that just tells you how beautiful that performance was. And his iconic 1.3 centimeter save from Liverpool, which eventually ended up us winning the league by 1 point at Etihad, where he just saved us. So I think there are a lot more contribution that I can say, but again, unfortunately, he just got injured too much. Still, I think he still holds the most number of Premier League winners medal for Man City. I think he has won 5, and if City wins this, he's going to win 6 now, which is amazing, by the way. So I feel he has achieved a lot. He could have achieved even more, but again, injuries always hampered his career. With Bernardo is exact opposite of what John Stones was. I mean, he's ever consistent, ever dominant, and someone beautifully summed it up as to what Bernardo Silva is to football. I think when a person was speaking about Bernardo, he said, "We always sit here and decide and debate as to who's the best creative midfielder, who's the best goal scorer, who should be winning Ballon d'Or. We waste a lot of energy in all these nonsense talks." But there are certain players who might not be remembered by a lot of fans, but by the fans that he played for, who actually embodied the way the manager wanted him to play. The manager, the philosophy, the ethos, the way Pep Guardiola wanted this city to look at the end of 10 years. I think Bernardo is the purest form of that. He could have played anywhere in that team because he understood the game more than anybody else, in my opinion. I think he was the most intelligent Premier League player ever. You can't take the ball out of him. By he's so small, but he just defies gravity. And I remember when for the first time I saw him was against Man City when he was playing for Monaco, and that was the famous game where we ended up losing to Monaco. This guy, this little boy Bernardo Silva, he took David Silva, Fernandinho, and Yaya Toure out in one move. Like, he did that
Yeah.
to us at Etihad, and he scored a wonderful goal as well. And then in the second leg as well, he tormented us. And next thing I know, City are signing him. He came to City first season. It was difficult for him because we were stacked in the midfield. We had David, we had Kevin, we had Yaya, we had Bernardo. Oh, sorry, we had Fernandinho. We had so many other players. So he didn't get those many chances. But in the second season, the best Pep Guardiola team that I've seen ever in my life, he was very instrumental. The formidable season post Centurion season. And he embodied what Pep Guardiola is. Like, if I have to put what Bernardo is for, is he was exactly Pep Guardiola inside the pitch. He dictated the play. He knew where the patterns were. He could break out all those complex data that were fed into these players. He always was a player who always wanted to help the other ones grow as well. So you will always, if you only see Bernardo in any of the matches in Man City, you will see he'll be going to places which is where the player is struggling the most. So if he recognizes that Man City's right back Matthias Nunes is struggling against, let's say, Vinicius Junior, he would go there. He would support him. If he sees left back is in trouble, he would go to support left back. If he sees central midfielder is struggling, he would go there. If City needs creativity, he would go up forward. But he would just play for the team. And that's just Bernardo Silva for you, bhai. Just always gave everything for the club. I don't know if he'll get a statue or not, but he'll always be remembered as one of the best ever to grace Premier League and one of the best ever Man City signings for me.
Brilliant, Piyush Bhai. What a wonderful tribute for Bernardo Silva and John Stones. As from a perspective of fans, always beautiful to hear when a fan how much he's indebted to a particular player. For what he's done for the club, for the memories that he's given him, and I'm sure Bernardo Silva, and I'm sure, I mean, Bernardo is going to continue to play football for a while now. He's only 31.
Yeah,
So I'm guessing it's the
yeah,
same Kevin De Bruyne, where he wants to go to another league where it's a bit more slow, where he can prolong his career and end up at end his career in the US or in Saudi, and he deserves all that. Bernardo Silva for
yeah,
sure, and he's got a big summer in the World Cup as well, with Portugal having a very strong chance as well. Piyush Bhai, before we go further, other couple of comments I just wanted to take, and it will
yeah.
also be good. There's one comment I think for you from Ash Bhai, so thank you so much, Ash Bhai, for joining us. Before we get to that comment, this is one from SPO95 who says Manchester City 1-0, Southampton 1-0 against Southampton at Wembley. Piyush Bhai, do you agree? Just one goal for City.
I would take that by. I would take as long as we are winning. I'll take any goal right now because for me it is the most it's the least important match in my opinion because I don't want our players to get injured.
Mm.
But as long as we can just win, I'll take 1-0 by. I'll take 1-0. If
Yeah.
you're giving it to
Okay.
me, I'll bite your hand off right now.
Okay. And the second part is the most important one, Piyush Bhai. He says Newcastle United 2, Arsenal 1. Newcastle beat Arsenal at home. Even Newcastle don't know what they could do. This season, it's been so up and down. We've discussed Newcastle at length, Piyush Bhai. I mean,
Yeah.
nobody knows what Newcastle can do. But one thing they are known to do is play party, poopers, Piyush Bhai. We all know this Newcastle team on its day can do do any team over. But do you think Arsenal? What do you expect by now? It's a very interesting situation, right? Do you expect a situation where on the final day it's going to be like City and United sitting on their phones and seeing what's happening on each match, or do you think it's going to be decided much before that, and Arsenal will succumb to the pressure, as SPO has said here that
I
Newcastle is
mean, I
not
mean,
going to.
Haribhai, I would want the later. I mean, I want it to be decided a bit early so that I can sit back and enjoy that game rather than me hopping around the screens and seeing what Arsenal are scoring and what City are scoring. Because trust me, bhai, I've done that 3 times now. The first was the Aguero moment. I
Yeah,
witnessed that moment as well. The second
true.
was when we
Arsenal.
the 2 times that we went against Liverpool. One against
Yeah.
one when we when went against Brighton on the last day, and the famous Aston Villa game against Gerrard team.
Yeah.
So that's very hectic. By no football
Yeah.
fan should go through that pain. So
True.
I would rather want it to be decided earlier. But as things are standing, I feel it will go down to the last day, and
Wow. Okay.
it's very. I mean, it's good for Premier League, but it's not good for the fans. By I mean, at the end of
True.
the day, if everything goes right, then you're happy. But every time you get like if a team scores against you, a lot of energy is seeped outside of your body. So I would rather want it to happen early, but I think it is going to go till the last day.
Okay, brilliant. Well, I to be honest, Piyush, Bhai, as a neutral, I love this, right? I mean, if my team season is done and we are in the Champions League, I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna have my laptop, one match on my laptop, one match on my TV, and I'm gonna just
Yeah,
switch between the matches. The WhatsApp groups are gonna be ringing. I mean, we all love a spectacle, and this is what we watch for. But I truly
yeah,
understand, as a true fan, right? As a fan, if you're in the woods, you want this to be over as soon as possible for sure. SPO also makes a point. Rodri will not play tomorrow, said Pep Guardiola in today's interview. So that's news for me. Thank you so much for that. He also says FA Cup final is 16th May. Yes, I think that falls in. I think there's two more Premier League games to play before after the FA Cup final as well. So yes, thank you so much,
Yeah.
SPO, for your comments. Keep them coming. And this was the comment by Ashby. Ashby, thank you so much for joining us. If people who do not know Ashby, football fans, I think they must be living under a rock or have just started watching football. So wonderful, wonderful content creator. Please do go follow him on the same channel, Ash Talks Football. Question to you, Piyush Bhai. Matthews Nunes, turning point in his career. Has he adapted well to this role for long term? I mean, Piyush Bhai, just before we take that question, Matthews Nunes came as a midfielder to City. And usually, if you come as a defender to City, Pep converts you into a midfielder. And then it's the opposite that has happened here. He
Yeah.
came in as a midfielder, he's converted into a fullback, and looks like it's paying rich dividends now.
Yeah, and this is the third player, Haribai, that he has converted from a midfielder to a defender. The first was Fabian Delph when he made him a
Ah,
left back, by the way, and he played really
true.
well in that Centurion season. Then Zinchenko was the one. Then Zinchenko was converted into a left back. He was an attacking midfielder when we signed him, and now Matthias Nunes. I feel I don't know, Ashbhai. I would rather not want him to play a long term right back. I really love that guy. He embodies a lot of what Pep Guardiola really wants in his defenders. Someone who can actually fight, who can actually be committed, who can actually want. I think the best way to put forward what Matthias, I think he really wanted to be part of this City team. That is why he has worked so hard in whatever opportunities that he has been given, that he's just ready to play anywhere in the field as long as he's playing football. And I really like these kind of players more than the players who can actually play one dimensional football. But going forward, I think I was discussing this with a lot of people in Man City group as well. Like I see a world where Matthias Nunes comes back in the midfield next season, because I feel they're going to push Kusunov on the right as a
Mhm.
right back. They're going to have Guardiola and Gehi as their centre backs, or Guardiola or Diaz as their centre backs, or Gehi from the bench. And then when they want to play Diaz and when they want to play Diaz and, let's say, this guy Gehi as centre backs, then Guardiola as a left back, because I really value from where footballing meta is going on. You really want to have those defenders who are very good at one on one. And I hardly see right backs and left backs. They are very good going forward, but they're not good defending one on one against tricky wingers like with likes of Vinny, Rodrigo, even Desiree Doué, Kwarasari. I really think the meta is like that. That if you want to counter these wingers, you need to have a very strong player in those on those fullback position. And I think City are going to do that. At least they're going to experiment. I don't know if it is going to work out for them or not, but I see a world where we see all the four centre backs playing alongside each other, with Gehi and Diaz playing as centre backs, Guardiola on the left and Kusunov on the right, and Matthias Nunes transferring into the midfield because Bernardo is going to leave. And we'll also see a world where Kovacic is not there. So if there's a situation where you don't have, let's say, Ryan Diaz, or if you don't have someone else, then Matthias Nunes can play that role as well. So I feel he's a very versatile player, but I don't see him playing right back position for very long now. Just my opinion, though.
Brilliant, brilliant. Next comment is from Abhijit. Thank you, John. Thank you for your comment, Abhijit. That Turkey is going to be dangerous next season at this rate. Once his understanding of what Pep ball increases, brilliant segue into my next point, Piyush Bhai, and let me bring that up because there's lot of rumors that Pep might not even be there next
Yeah,
season. And
yeah,
this is something that, what Pep Guardiola has done. There's the tweet from Fabrizio where he says Enzo Maresca remains the top clear candidate to become Manchester City manager. So, it's even the tier ones who have already started, their business way ahead of the summer. So, Piyush Bhai, what is happening? Why Pep? Is it fatigue? Is it exactly what Klopp said? It's been too many years at the top, fighting tooth and nail, and also with Premier League being such a difficult league where nothing is taken for granted, and City also having to fight on all fronts every year. So do you think it's just he's going to take a break, or is there something big that we all don't know as neutral fans, and you want to enlighten the fans regarding that?
I mean, Haribhai, my guess is as good as anybody's in the world because I couldn't figure out as to what is happening around this situation. When this news broke out for the first time, when David Orenstein broke in January, I was very pissed by the fact that why are you doing this to our club when we are in the ascendancy, when we're trying to chase down or tackle down Arsenal. This kind of pushes us back in that international break. And I
True,
remember making a reel, which was very I mean it was in very bad taste. I mean, I said few horrific things which I don't do usually, and I was very pissed with the fact that why are you doing this to our club. And then I was very sure that this kind of things always happen to us. Like they come up with some narrative in the international break. Sometimes they would come up by saying that this is the time when you see 115 coming out, and City are going to be extradited to the second league, or they're going to have 60 points minus or whatever. And these PR things I have known. Like these are done just to derail your title charge. And I've grown used to it. So I didn't believe for the first time when David Orenstein even broke that. And I felt it was very bad to do that. It's very unethical to do that. When a manager is there, you shouldn't be doing that. But
true.
subsequently, when the first time he came in front of the press and he was bluntly asked this question, and the way he was hiding his own eyes now, I just felt that he might not be here for the next season. For the first time, that is when I felt. And I felt like maybe he has had enough. Maybe he knows he has given enough to Man City and he cannot offer any more to Man City or whatever. And this is where he ends up saying goodbye to all of us. And this is
Hmm.
in January, by the way.
Hmm.
And then quickly it died down. A lot of people then said nay nay, there's not a decision made, because a lot of PR work was done to handle that situation. And I remember he never categorically said that he's here, he's going to stay. What he said was he has one more year left in his contract and he's going to see where he goes. So he himself was very hesitant. Then there was a news that was broken out by one of the reporters, where they said there was a chain of restaurant that he owned in Manchester. He had already sold all those restaurants. So that
Oh,
that was an indication that he's looking forward for to exit from Manchester or whatever. And then everything died down when we started playing football again, and this news died down. I remember when we played at Anfield against Liverpool,
mhm,
the Premier League game, and in the situation that we won that game, the theatrics that happened, Shobos getting red carded in the last moment, we winning. He stood there in front of away stand and he was crying literally, as if
hmm,
he was telling them that this is what he actually wanted to do for a very long time, to win a match against Anfield at in front of all the crowd. And finally he has done it, and it was like a coming together of 360 for him. And that is also when I felt that he might be saying to fans indirectly that this is the last time you're going to see him.
hmm,
And again, then it also died down because he was very aggressive in his press conferences, and he was tackling the media with respect to how title charges were put to him. But again, this news again came out of the blue, where now Fabrizio had reported that Maresca would be the front runner if Pep leaves. Again, I would say, Haribai, I would rather want to be on the positive side, thinking that
hmm.
if he were to leave, he would have told this to the fans, because us fans deserved at least that much respect from the manager, so that we are prepared. But it would be
Yeah,
such a horrific thing to for us if he just says goodbye on the last day. I mean, we
yeah.
won't be able to recover properly. Let me just say this.
Hmm,
Even when Klopp wanted to leave, even when Sir Alex Ferguson wanted to leave, they had announced it prior to season ending. Like
true,
there was enough time
true,
for the fans to actually give him the proper farewell that he deserves. I feel
true.
since they have not made the announcement, even Pep has not made an
Hmm,
announcement, I feel there's one more season left in him. But you
hmm,
never know about. We all know he's very emotional guy. Let's say if at
true.
the end of the day he wins that Premier League, and he
Yeah,
tells everybody that I've had enough and I'm
yeah,
going to go, then he will go
yeah,
by. With
yeah.
regards to Maresca, I feel he's a very, very good manager. I feel he has had experience of the Premier League as well. He was in the City assistant job
Exactly.
when we won the treble as well, so he knows the club inside out. He's a very shrewd signing, Karibai. I think he's a very very good approach. Someone who people don't rate that much, but he's very 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 uh, technical. He's very good student of the game. And I think for a club who will be going through a transition, you would need a manager who's solid. I don't want a rather volatile manager who just wants to talk about himself every time. I would rather have a manager who takes the back seat and let the players do what they want to do. But I don't want him for a longer term, let's say more than 2 years. I would rather want a Vincent Company or a Xabi Alonso, or let's say
Mm,
some other project driven managers who can come here and come into this new phase or new age of Man City where there's no new story written. He's going to be similar as Arteta is, but he's going to be very solid, but he's going to be not so creative. Like, I know what
mm,
kind of football I'm going to see if Maresca comes, but I would
mm,
rather want to see Vincent Company come to the club. That
mm.
would be a beautiful story. Him coming back
True.
to Etihad, his statue is outside there, and then winning a Premier League if he can, then that would be amazing. Or a Xabi Alonso who plays the football very different to, let's say, any other manager that I know. Luis Enrique maybe because it's a very far fetched, so that is why I'm not taking his name. But Luis Enrique, these kind of managers I would rather appreciate if they come. But if they get Maresca, I understand why they're getting Maresca.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant. I couldn't, Piyush bhai, when you were talking, right? I also couldn't help think probably Pep has said this in the dressing room that he's leaving and probably not letting everybody know that, also not to derail the focus of trying to, catch up with Arsenal and probably winning the Premier League. Possibly it is because if you say that this information came out in Jan, and that also coincided with City's, more consistently them winning games and uptick in performance. Probably, it's a parting gift. I mean, the best parting gift you can give it to anybody, right? For somebody
Yeah,
like Pep, who I guess has won everything at City, and he's
yeah,
been such a great manager in terms of how much he has achieved, not just in terms of the Premier League, but some of the campaigns that you've had in terms of the points won is unparalleled. So I'm guessing, if anything, then the perfect parting gift for John Stones, Bernardo Silva, and hopefully, from as a United fan, to Pep Guardiola as well, because
yeah,
yeah, he's given us way too many sleepless nights. But just to point out, just before we go into the last segment to talk about the future, just because there's already talks about that, Piyush Bhai, and we'll cover that quickly. Thank you so much, Ash Bhai, for your chat there. Like the stream, guys. Yes, please, anybody watching in there, this is where I'm going to tell. Please like this stream. Please also go look at Piyush Bhai's channel. That is Let Me Talk City. As you can see, it's been 52 minutes, and 52 minutes have just flown by. That is what Piyush Bhai brings to his football conversations. A lot of preparation, inside depth of everything that he is talking about. He knows his city, he knows his club inside out. So please go follow him, not just for city content, but in football content in general. Especially, you don't want to miss Yellow Room. So please go check that out. If you're looking for banter, and if you're looking for outrageous stuff to say, I mean, yes, I think that constitutes about 5% of Piyush Bhai's channel. But these are the wholesome talks, the analytical driven, the approach to going up down, top down, and bottom up into a football club. Those are the conversations that you will find in Piyush Bhai's channel. Before I let you leave, Piyush Bhai, there's another Fabrizio tweet. Fabrizio has been extremely busy even before the summer has hit. And
yeah,
this time he's already started talking about players that City are looking at. And this is the big fish.
yeah,
Everybody's going to be after this man here, Elliot Anderson. And anybody who's been following Elliot Anderson, condolences to him. It was very, very emotional at
yeah,
Forest, whatever happened. The Forest fans serenaded him, paid a lovely, lovely tribute, because Elliot Anderson had just lost his mother. He was in tears, but it was such a beautiful moment. Anybody who missed it, please go watch it on YouTube. It was, I mean, I had tears in my eyes watching that. So, I mean, he is a Newcastle fan who was somehow, I don't know how Newcastle messed this up, kept them to Forest, and what a wonderful, fabulous season he's had. Piyush Bhai. I mean, even as a
Yeah.
neutral fan, you cannot help admire what this man has done in the midfield. He's complete player and someone who has also, transferred whatever he's done well in the Premier League into the England setup as well. He feels so comfortable in the roles that he
Yeah.
does, and he's almost that midfielder. And if there's any club in the world that loves a midfielder more than anything, it has to be City. So it's only time that the City and Elliot Anderson links have already begun. But Piyush, bhai, just to understand now, we have to talk about the midfielders who will leave, and we for sure know it's going to be Bernardo Silva. That's the
Yeah.
midfielder who's going to leave. And that's could you give us some insight into which other midfielders could possibly leave? And if Elliot Anderson were to come in, where would he settle? And who would probably have to, settle for substitute appearances or just come off the bench or even probably leave the club in order to, further his career? Because one, Elliot Anderson is not going to come cheap. And if he's going to come at that fee, he's probably gonna play. I mean, this is not just a player who's gonna come in and gonna be, benched, because this guy is so versatile in everything that he does, and he's such a natural footballer that I'm sure he's gonna go into the first team. So Piyush, if you could just
Yeah.
bring our fans into this to think about, if Elliot Anderson, is he the right player for City? Is he gonna be someone who's gonna be part of that new age Manchester City midfield? And if so, who's gonna leave? How's he gonna slot in?
I think I don't know what I can add to whatever Hariba you have said about him. I think he is probably the most complete midfielder this season in the league. I think his work rate, his passion, his understanding of the game, how technically gifted he is in terms, he's that modern day midfielder who is very good with the ball as well, and then he has that English uh, rustiness in him where he can spray a 40-yard ball as well, like the likes of Gerrard, Scholes for that matter. Growing up, when we saw these midfielders doing that job as well, so it's very hard to not notice what he's doing. And I agree, bhai. I mean, any team that gets gets him are going to improve, certainly, be it Man City, United, or whosoever ends up having him. I think by the looks of it, these two Manchester clubs are actually fighting for him, and both require him for different reasons. I feel a lot of people confuse Man City's midfield with respect to how we approach the game. So, like, a lot of people are not analyzing it. They're saying, like, if we are getting Bernardo, if Bernardo is leaving, we would like to have a like replacement Bernardo. I think that is not how football works. I think Pep
True.
Guardiola has shown in his tenure that it is upon the quality of the player that his tactics revolve. So if he has a midfield of, let's say, a Rodri, Anderson, and a Cherky, then you would not then you would not see us playing the depth touch football. Then you will see a different kind of football. He always caters to the quality that he has. It is never like if you don't have Bernardo, then you'll find someone like Bernardo. It's not possible. Like, there's no Bernardo in the world. So
True.
I feel he adds a lot of value to Man City. He's young. He understands the league. I think he straight away comes into the midfield for Man City alongside Rodri. But the only problem with his this situation is the value that has been put by this Greek owner. Bhai, I think we both agree
True.
that this is not a guy who you want to mess around with. I mean, he's not going to budge down anyway soon. So
For
anyhow,
sure.
even if you try, pull the best negotiators of the town to talk to him, this guy is not talking sense. We have seen that. I mean, this guy, if he decides that he wants to sell Elliot Anderson for 125 million, then he is not going to budge for 5 million only. And I think
True.
for that price, Haribhai, unfortunately, I see City walking out from this deal.
Yeah.
If it comes
Yeah.
down to 125 million, I think City are not going to pay that much
Yeah.
money for various reasons. I don't think there is any midfielder right now in Premier League who's worthy of 125 million. Let's say, I mean, apart from Bruno and let's say a few others, but Bruno, again, he's not going to come to Man City, or like, he's not going to go anywhere else. Like, there are very few midfielders, in my opinion, in the Premier League who are in excess of 100 million. Elliot Anderson is a very good player, but I feel you also need to make financial decision with regards to how you value him. if there's a
True.
situation where it comes down to the fact that they are asking too much, I think City walks away from this deal.
Yeah.
If they cannot track this deal,
Hmm.
but if the value is good, then I think City are the favorites in terms of where he wants to go. But again, we have
True.
seen so many players like this, Haribai. I don't want to hurt Man United feelings, but we've seen so many players who
Yeah.
wanted to go to club, but some or the other thing hasn't worked out, and they went to the other club. So I think
Yeah.
both the Manchester clubs are there. And again, if Man United can, I think they have secured the Champions League spot, if I'm correct. I think that would be a very good sellable project to him, where they can actually tell him that you're going to be a focal point in our team growing up. But it also depends upon what kind of manager you adopt. Like if
True.
there's Carrick, then it's okay. If you're not
Yeah.
having Carrick, if you're having someone else who plays, let's say, three at the back again, does he fit there alongside Bruno? I don't know. So it also depends upon where Manchester United are in summer. If they decide what kind of manager they want, if they can secure that place, and if they qualify for Champions League, why not? I mean,
Yeah.
you almost signed Bellingham, bhai. People don't believe it, but Bellingham was there in the training ground of Old Trafford.
Yeah.
He was there in
Yeah.
Stretford, and he was about to sign. The only reason he didn't sign was because he wanted assurances from the club that he's going to play a lot more
Yes,
games
yes,
than actually Man United were offering him, and that is why the deal didn't go through. But again,
yes.
imagine Bellingham playing at United. He would have been the same player as he is at Madrid.
Yes.
So I don't
Yes.
think so. It's impossible for United to crack this deal as well. For City, it's very simple. But we have seen that if the value is of in excess to what City are valuing Anderson, they will walk away 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, I think very, very well put, Piyush Pai. And also, I mean, what, as you rightly said, right? The Greek owner there, Mr. Marinakis, he is one of a kind for sure. And if Forest don't go down, I'm sure he's not going to budge. Even if they go down, he might have to budge. But I don't. I strongly feel Forest will not go down. I'm not sure. There's still one tricky business for Forest, because they are very much in Europe still, and they have to play Aston Villa in the semi-final. So there's going to be only one English team, and that's a tall order. But still,
Yeah,
Forest also has European pedigree in the past, has European past. So it's going to be a
yeah,
very interesting match. And also with Elliot Anderson, although as you rightly said, I mean, people always say City throw all the money in the world, are oil merchants, but how many deals over 100 million has City made? I think it's only one, Grealish.
Grealish,
Grealish is
Grealish.
the
Yeah,
only, and that was 100 million, right? If I'm not
yeah,
wrong. Yeah.
yeah,
So for all the chatter around City having thrown money, they always try to find value deals, either through wages, either through contracts. They find a way, but the transfer fees actually paid never goes overvalued. They never
yeah,
overvalue a player. They do value, and that's why City has been so good at transfer window. But Piyush bhai, if let's say Elliot Anderson does not walk into City, are you happy with this current squad of midfielders? And obviously Des Bernardo is going to leave. Do you have another particular midfielder who you feel could be a better replacement instead of Bernardo, if it's
yeah,
even possible? That's what Bernardo brings. Obviously you sometimes might not have that profile in
yeah,
a right profile of footballer already set in stone, but somebody who
yeah,
could evolve. But even if
yeah.
Bernardo leave, and let's say there's this group of midfielders that you have, and I think the midfielders would be Rodri, there would be Kovacic,
Ryan,
there would be
Reinders.
Reinders, exactly, Gonzalez, Nico Gonzalez, and Nunes, who you
Yeah,
think
and
could also
maybe Foden. If we're not sure if Foden is going to play in the midfield or not, but he's an option as well. Like if he plays in the midfield, yeah.
yeah. But are you confident with this midfield given the way it is, or are
No,
you
no,
sure that mhm.
no, Aribai. I mean, unfortunately, I have to say no. I mean, when you
Yes.
lose a player like Bernardo, I understand that you cannot pick a like for like replacement. There are very few. with respect to what experience he had and what kind of person he was. You also have to figure it out, the quality that he possessed, above all. And I think you need to replace quality with quality. If you don't, then you're not going to compete for the league. So I feel since we cannot have a Bernardo, like I know there are two Bernardos in the world right now, apart from the Bernardo that we have, and both of them play for the same team, that are João Neves and Vitinha. Unfortunately, we cannot have either of them. I would have loved to have one of them in my team, but I can't, unfortunately. But Haribai, like it's a wishful thinking. I don't know if it is going to happen or not. But if you ask me, and a lot of City fans don't agree with me, I would rather have an Enzo Fernandez, Rodri, and Cherki in the midfield. Bhai. That would be just so good, bhai. The amount of energy that these guys have with Rodri and Enzo together in the midfield, and Cherki playing as a 10. I mean, bring Madrid, bhai. Bring in Madrid next season. I'm gonna tell you, any team that Enzo Fernandez goes, be it Madrid, be it Munich or any other club, I feel he's going to elevate that team because of the way
Yes.
he is. He's that
Yeah.
ferocious. He's also that kind of a player who really, he's very passionate. He's an Argentine at the end of the day. I know there's certain disciplinary issues with regards to what he does, but I will take that punt by. A lot of people had a lot of doubts when Cherky came to Man City that he has discipline issues and so on and so forth. But
True.
you forget all those when these kind of performances are coming from players like Cherky. And I believe if Pep stays and we can get Enzo, if not Elliot, if we can get Enzo Fernandez, I think, bhai, I would just, that's just wishful thinking. And one more thing that I feel, why is that I came up with this idea is, I feel if what you are suggesting, and if what media is suggesting is true, in terms of Pep has already said goodbye to the players and to the backroom staff, and with respect to whether he's going next season, and Enzo Maresca is coming, I'm 100% sure they would offer Enzo that much courtesy by telling him, "Bhai Enzo, tell me one player that you actually want in your squad
Yeah.
coming next season, whosoever it is you name." And I feel he would 100% say, "Bring me
Yeah.
Enzo Fernandez," and
Yeah.
City
Sure.
would
And
go for Enzo Fernandez that way.
exactly, and all of these project managers, Piyush Bhai, it's very well known that they pick a player who they had experience with. It's very simple.
Yeah,
These are the players who usually are midfielders who's going to dictate the play. They've had a very good relationship with their past manager, and yes,
yeah,
Enzo Fernandez on his day, by he can be very very difficult to deal with. He's almost like, as you said, yes, he's an Argentinian, but he's one of those players. He's like Bruno. When I say
yeah,
why he's like Bruno, like you love to have him on your team, you
yeah.
hate him when he's in the opposition, and
Beautifully put.
so that is
Beautifully
the
put,
kind
buddy.
of player Enzo Fernandez is. Yes, but he's also not going to come cheap, Piyush Bhai. I mean, let's be real.
No, no, not at
City,
all. Not at all.
Chelsea, exactly. Chelsea in the financial shit that they are in. Sorry for my French, but also if they fail to get Europe, at least Champions League or any sort of Europe, then and Enzo wants to leave, then I'm guessing it's going to be an auction for Enzo Fernandez,
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
sure.
I mean,
Yeah,
100%. He would be anyway, Haribai. I feel he'll also be in excess to 100 million. But I would
yeah,
rather take a punt on Enzo, knowing that
true.
Enzo Maresca is coming. Like I have caveated it with
Correct.
the saying that if Enzo Maresca is coming, I think he would be given that much courtesy. Ki, bhai, tell me which is the one player that you want to start the
Yeah,
project. And if he believes that
definitely.
Enzo Fernandez is that player, City would splash 100 million. I'm
For
sure
sure.
of it. Since the turbulence is there in Chelsea camp and the way Chelsea has been run, nobody wants to stay there. Bhai, to be honest, like everybody wants to go out. If Palmer is given a chance, he would in a blink join Man United. If Man United can pay what Chelsea wants, I am sure Palmer will leave Chelsea. Nobody is there in Chelsea playing for that badge. And if you're crumbling out of Europe from Champions League, you're not even qualifying for Conference League. All these players will lose faith. A lot of players would want to leave. I don't know if all of them could leave, but if it comes down to financial muscle, and I know City have that thing as well, where they can actually flex it and say like
Yeah.
let me just throw whatever cash you need, give us Enzo. And Enzo would be a very big upgrade over any other player that we can have. But it's a wishful thinking. By again, I don't know if it is going to happen or not, but let's just say okay,
But, but
he's a
that
very good player.
but that is what we do as fans, right? We have all the wishful thinkings in the world, and I don't think it's out of reach, as you rightly said. He's unhappy at
Yeah,
Chelsea, and if Chelsea fails to get Europe, why wouldn't he take up that project, especially with a manager who loved him, who wanted him in the first place?
Yeah.
And it would be a brilliant reunion. And this means that he's gonna win trophies, and that is what you play the game for, to win
Yeah.
as much as trophies, show off your trophy cabinet as much as possible. So that was a brilliant conversation, Piyush. But I think we covered everything. Was there anything that you want to tell at the end of the stream to all fellow citizens around the world regarding the run in to the Premier League? So there's 4 to 5 games left. There's a FA Cup semi-final left behind. So is there
Yeah.
anything that you want to tell on behalf of all the citizens, or do you want to give like a monologue to the citizens as to what you feel or how you want the fans to do a particular thing, or say something, or keep the narrative as such?
Yeah, yeah, sure. But before that, I would really want to say thank you to you, bhai, because I kind of know you. I've watched a lot of content of you, Hari bhai, and I really appreciate. I have a lot of time for you because I think the way you articulate, the way you organize a stream, it's beyond impressive, bhai. You make me so comfortable in this conversation. And the first time that I spoke to you, you're a thorough gentleman that way. Then I saw the stream that you conducted with Kanishka Di. I think I was blown away with the insights that how you navigated through her personal life, to her journey towards her following Aston Villa. I just love the fact that how you conduct yourself in these streams. So thank you so much for first of all having me. It's a pleasure for me rather than anything else. And with regards to what to do, I'm a very old age and a cliched person in that way. Bhai, I feel you just have to take one game at a time. I mean, you can't be thinking too much ahead. I mean, whatever the game is ahead of you, just need to focus on that. First is FA Cup. We need to secure for our final spot there, and then follow it by whatever Premier League games are coming. And I think it's easier that way, bhai. I mean, if you sit here and talk about, like, let's say 5 games, it is very difficult to navigate because there are so many intangibles that we cannot see right now. What if a key player gets injured? What if some player gets a red card, a 3 game ban? You never know. There have been various kind of things that have already happened in this season. So I would just want all City fans to just have patience and believe in our manager, because he has delivered so many titles for us. And what I would say is, if we can win our remaining games, if it comes down to goal difference, I think we're going to win the league.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Piyush Bhai, for all those kind words. I have to say, this stream was one of my favorites because, as I said, I really love having wholesome conversations regarding football, and the way you look at football, the way you analyze, and how insightful you are with respect to your club. It was such a pleasure to do this live as well. And thank you so much for everybody who joined us in the chat. Please go give Let Me Talk City Piyush by a follow, a like, or just look at his channel. Even if you don't want to subscribe, I'm sure you're going to fall in love with how he presents his content. And I especially Yellow Room. I have to say, I love the concept of the Yellow Room that Piyush Bhai presents every week. He goes through so much pain to put a show together, offering incredible insights into a particular club. This is something that, it's beyond content creation. It's almost like a passion. It's almost like an obsession that Piyush Bhai brings, and this is what we love. And we want this type of streamers and this particular episode to go, places. And we really hope, Piyush Bhai, the next time we talk to you, you are on the cusp of another milestone. We are talking, probably I'm on your channel talking in on the Yellow this thing regarding another club. So looking
Yeah.
forward to how City do, and hopefully, if it all goes well, whether it goes well or not, Piyush Bhai, you're most welcome to come on my channel to rant or to celebrate. Yeah.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure, Arif. Thank you so much for having me.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, guys. Whoever's watching this, I'm also going to put this again, Piyush Bhai's links, and it's going to be on the description. So please give him a follow. And then I'm going to also post this episode again on my WhatsApp channel. So if you have missed this, and if you are a football fan, I mean, there were a lot of Man United fans who said, how did you find a City fan? And are these true City fans? And I just told them that. Piyush Bhai is someone that I have to say you're my most favorite City fan, Piyush Bhai, and more importantly, he's someone that I really look up to as to how he prepares content and the effort that he puts into. So, in just from a pure football perspective, please go check this episode out or check this live out. And thank you so much to everybody who continues to support this channel and allows me to bring guests like Piyush Bhai on the channel. So, thank you to everyone. And as I always say on this channel, take care, stay safe. The world is a crazy place. So always stay safe and be aware of any corners taken quickly. Yeah. See you guys. Bye. Have a nice one.
Bye bye, guys. Take care.